Hi guys, Deb Acker here, back with another video. And the title of today's video is really how to stop doing what others want you to and really what they are telling you. So much of the time it can be really easy for us to kind of mold ourselves to what others want for us and what others tell us to do. And I want to really talk about that and address that today, and really also address some of the costs that come, at the expense, right? If we keep doing what others want us to do and we're not doing what feels right to us. So for those of you guys who are new to this series, welcome. I'm an intuitive coach and I work mainly with women to help them to heal their past and heal their childhood patterns, specifically around abandonment and the abandonment that can show up when we have physically and or emotionally unavailable parents. And here's the thing. If you grew up in that environment, whether it was because your parents worked a lot or on a deeper scale through divorce, addiction, and or loss, right? A lot of times what happens in those experiences in those circumstances is we get used to really molding ourselves. We get used to sort of just, basically being what our caretakers want us to be. And we do that subconsciously because that's the way that we get love. That's the way that we think we won't be abandoned. Like, it's like, oh, if I do what they want, I won't be abandoned, right? So first and foremost, notice if that's true for you. So then obviously we go into our adult lives, and in part that conditioning from our childhood, it's disconnected us from ourselves, right? Like we don't even know what we want, let alone actually communicate that to another, right? And so some of the patterns that can show up as a result of growing up in that type of environment around this specific topic include people pleasing, right? And poor boundary setting, right? Not knowing how to say no. It can include basically where we think everyone else has the answers and we don't have, any of the answers. And then also can include us not knowing what we want for ourselves. So let's kind of peel those back one by one and really address them and really address how to start to shift those. So first and foremost, thinking that everyone has the answers, right? Everyone knows more than you and they have the answers to your life. So here's the important thing to understand. It's something that I share with my clients all the time. Someone can have sort of the illusionary, like, I've got my life together, right? They can be, especially if someone's like doing really well in their work, right? You might think, oh, they know the answers. They've found the formula, right? If they have a lot of money or if they have an amazing relationship, you might in some ways start to say, okay, wait, they've got the answers, right? They've got, they know the system, right? And you might be inclined or want to take their answers. But in essence, what it is that they have the appearance of having the answers, but deep down inside, they may or may not have those. And our journey is and has always been going within, right? And finding those answers within. And so part of how we activate that, right, is we activate our healing journey, right? We activate starting to heal ourselves. And the more we do this, the more we actually get the clarity on what's really true, what's really right for us. And also too, the more, the intuition that's always coming through that we all have access to, the more that we're able to connect to that and actually tune in and listen to it and follow it to really feel guided in this life, right? To start to really connect to the answers that we have. And as part of that, and really the second reason, right, is that we so often disconnect from ourselves, right? We so often disconnect from ourselves, disconnect from our bodies. It's, a lot of times that environment, if you've had a parent that abandoned you, that environment is set up where we don't feel safe, right? So that environment is already set up for us to disconnect from our truth, again, disconnect from our bodies, and disconnect from what's right for us. So I mentioned this in yesterday's video or on yesterday's topic, but one of the things that you can do is just to start to ask yourself some questions. What do I want for myself, right? What do I want right now? What do I need right now? What's going on for me right now? What am I feeling right now? And the more you can keep tuning to that over and over and over again, the more you're going to have clarity around leading your life and not letting someone else lead your life on your behalf, right? So it's so important to look at that. Now, the third piece that I mentioned is really all around people pleasing and boundary setting. And I remember years ago, some of my family members, I always wanted to do right by them and I always wanted to help them. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I had to do that. And I will say, I didn't have any kind of boundary setting, right? I didn't know how to say no, right? I felt guilty saying no. So notice if that's true for you, right? But what I would say about that is starting to cultivate the practice of actually starting to say, okay, what is it that I want right now? Do I want to stay an extra hour because, this person's asking me to stay? Do I want to go over to their house on Friday night just because, they mentioned it? Or do I want to have a night by myself, right? And really starting to get connected to that and then practice how in real time you can say no. So I'll give you some examples. And what I encourage you to do is, before you do this in real time, is to actually practice it. You could see them in front of you and just practice saying it to them, and or just practice saying it out loud, right? Just to start to rewire your body to have access to that no, right? And so a lot of times what I'll say is, no, that actually doesn't feel like the right thing for me, or no, you know what, I'm gonna, take some time for myself, right? Or no, you know what, this isn't something that's aligned for me right now. So those are a few of the examples that I do, right? Is like, no, you know what, that just doesn't feel right for me. No, you know what, that's just not aligned for me right now. Or, no, I wanna take some time for myself, right? And or just saying simply no and not even having to give any kind of explanation is super, super powerful. So again, what you can do is just like practice saying that out loud. You could see them in front of you or not, but what you want to do is rewire your cells to actually get comfortable with no, right? Or even just, I need to think about that, right? So if you're not sure if you want to hang out with them on Friday night, just say to them, you know what, let me think about that and I'll get back to you. And again, you want to put this as much as possible in your words and not put it in my words, right? I definitely can have a unique way of talking, right? So you want to make sure as much as possible that it's in totally in your words. And the last thing that I would ask you to look at is just really the cost of you doing what others want, right? Do you end up feeling resentment towards that person or resentment in that relationship? And then you're carrying that around, and that can be a space of contraction. It can be a space of heaviness, a space that doesn't feel good, right? Do you feel rushed all the time because, again, you violated your own boundaries? So you went along with something and say you're like, okay, she asked me to be there at 5 and I knew I really couldn't be there until 6 and now I'm rushing, right? And so really, again, being able to tune into yourself and going, okay, what is right for me in this moment? What do I need? And also being willing to renegotiate if you agree to something and then you realize, oh, this isn't the right thing. So that is today's video. If you are enjoying the series, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It is always my goal and intention to give you not only new awarenesses and new tools and new practices, but to help you to connect to how so much of what's occurring in your childhood is, or what's occurring now is from your childhood, right? And then with that too, there's a ton of resources below, including my Healing Through Abandonment kit. So you can check those out below. And until next time, have a great rest of your day. And I will look forward to seeing you soon.